Hello, this is David from DN Cognitive Counseling. Tonight I want to talk about, if I don't believe in God, does that make me evil? And if I am a religious person, does that make me stupid? A lot of people today are struggling with this idea of identity and the idea that other people make them feel a certain way and put them down a certain way if they don't believe the same way. People who are atheists, that have no idea or don't believe that God exists, are told many times that basically they are going to hell, or basically that they are immoral people by nature because they don't have the same belief system. People who are atheistic many times call people who are religious foolish, stupid, ignorant, and what ends up happening is that the two divides grow more and more. And it's not a situation that either side wants to understand. It's not a question of who's right and who's wrong. The issue becomes that you become so entrenched in your belief that you just demonize the other side. The fact remains, there are very, very moral people who are atheists. One offhand, one of the most moral people in terms of conversation discussions is Penn Jillette. He is an incredibly moral person based upon his what he expresses in attitude. Now, obviously, just fireworks. Don't worry about it. Obviously, that I don't know what's in his heart, but in terms of his expressions, his talks about things, very, very intelligent person, and absolutely the staunch atheist. Then you have David Gelernter, a Yale professor of mathematics, incredibly intelligent, and just basically came out and said that he proved, and again, I can't go back and say this is me, this is him, that Darwin evolution cannot exist, and is open to the idea. Now, he doesn't believe necessarily that there was a creator. He doesn't go that far, but he goes that it has to be looked at as an option at this point, given what he's shown. And of course, when he published his work, it was met with, we can't accept it. Because in science, anytime, as Darwin himself, when Darwin first came out with his theory, it wasn't a matter of like, wow, eureka, we found it. There was an issue about backlash because it challenged people's beliefs. And what happens is we get very staunch in our belief system and we don't let things go. We hold on to them with great fervor even when something's proven to be wrong. Now, I've known for years there were issues with evolution in terms of the theory. One of my favorite things is Darwin himself writes that there are problems in the fossil record that don't seem to go along with this theory. For those of you who don't know and don't remember evolutionary theory, is the idea that things progress and change slowly over time, and that there's these gradual changes that species evolve from one to the other. The problem is that if you take a look at the fossil record, you have explosions, like the Cambrian explosion. Like all of a sudden life forms just automatically come into these existence, and there's a whole bunch of them. And then things stay stagnant for a very long period of time. The issue is, I can't, and I don't even pretend to be able to say what all the answers are. I wouldn't even try to. What I would not want to do is call people who have different points of view stupid or dumb. Because what you're doing then is invalidating yourself. You're not disagreeing by trying to change somebody's mind by having a conversation about, this is my belief system, this is your belief system. One of the biggest aspects of people calling people stupid about religion is that they laugh about the idea. In fact, you'll see ridiculed. Dr. Ben Carson, example, was ridiculed because of his belief in the 6 days of creation, and he was put down by it, by a lot of people. Oh, he's a moron. Now, you could say a lot of things about him. You could disagree with him politically. You could think he's wrong about many issues. He's a brain surgeon. If you ever go ahead and say to somebody about, if you want to create the idea of intelligence, brain surgeon no less to the top. And he wasn't just any brain surgeon. He was world renowned. So you could say, I don't agree with him. I think this is not his field of expertise. I think he's wrong. There's a lot of ways to have a conversation and say, just because you're intelligent in one area doesn't mean you're an expert in all areas. Absolutely admit that. But people call him horrible names and put him down based upon a belief system. Now that is where we go and we're overstepping a boundary. So I just want you to think about when you have a disagreement, an argument, instead of going and saying, I am right, the other person is wrong, I am good, they are evil, I am smart, they are stupid, I am moral, they are immoral. The first thing you want to ask yourself is, what is their argument? A lot of people get confused when I work with them because whatever position they take, I will always bring the opposite position in. And it's not because I'm telling them something I believe, because I want them to what's called to learn to be able to perspective take. Because in dealing with relationships and dealing with people, you always have the ability to be able to see something from another side. And that's okay. This is part of the problem that we have today with everybody demonizing everybody else, which makes you feel like the world is being torn apart. Because it's not a dialogue of two people having a disagreement with mutual respect and trying to come up with the correct answer. It's two people that are trying to win at any cost. I will share with you many years ago, I wasn't going to be going into mental health. I was going to become an attorney. And I always make the joke that I had a medical condition which prevented me from becoming an attorney. It was called a conscience. You'll say, well, why is that the case? I remember a mock trial that I was involved in, and the idea was to be able to prove who stole a camera, or that my client did not steal the camera, if I remember correctly. And I remember losing sight when I was trying to come up with argumentation. I didn't care whether or not my client stole the camera. What I cared about was winning. And I recognized very quickly that if all I was concerned about was winning, and truth was going out the window, where would that send me in terms of a moral compass? Which is the reason why there are so many jokes about lawyers. One of my favorites is, why don't sharks eat lawyers? And the answer is professional courtesy, because of the nature of what they are. And, I've heard many lawyers who tell me about, lawyer jokes as well, because the nature of lawyers, in a sense, is to win. And when you need one, you want one that's going to fight for you to win. And that's the nature of the profession. It's an adversarial process where you hope that it's about two equal attorneys who are intelligent enough to try to force the win. And if you do that, then you get to the truth. But that's not reality, especially in the law system. What it comes down to is who's the smarter attorney and can outmaneuver the other one. And then you end up in a situation where either more people are going free because of that attorney, or more people are being convicted because of that attorney. And that's part of the problem in the system to begin with. It's not equal. There's no equality when it comes to that. So people who have a lot of money can get the best attorneys and can get away with a lot more. And people with a little bit of money have a harder time because they don't have proper representation. And then what ends up happening is they get hurt by that. So you see the fact that the nature by which we understand truth, the nature by which we understand reality changes, which is why I always laugh when somebody goes, well, you're innocent until proven guilty. Well, that means if you went to court and you were proven guilty, that means you were guilty? And it means that if you were proven innocent, that you were innocent? So somebody who gets an attorney that gets them off and has enough money to pay, they're really innocent. And somebody who didn't have enough money, they're really guilty. Is that really true? So it's just to think about this. Don't always believe you're correct about everything. Always leave the opportunity and the ability that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my beliefs are wrong. Maybe my scientific understanding is wrong. Maybe the way that I see the world is wrong. Maybe the fact is I'm not recognizing something. And that way you will grow and you'll learn. That's the best way to grow and learn in life. So I hope that you like this video. I hope that you will share it with people who maybe it'll be helpful to them. And of course, if you didn't subscribe already, please do. And if you'd like to become a patron to this endeavor, please click the link below and hit the subscribe star. Thank you very much. Have a good night and good mental health.